What's good, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome back to Kingdom Connects as Tyreek Hill dived himself back into the Chiefs news. So you know I'm going to be all over it. But before we do dive into that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video, as I will keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chiefs that you do not want to miss out on. And without further ado, let's dive into Tyreek Hill. As I mentioned to start off this video, Tyreek Hill released a snippet of his new podcast that's going to be coming out through the month of June. Said it needed to be said, and it's a snippet, so of course it's not all truth. You got to take what it's given, and I'm going to take what was given at face value, because that's basically what the whole social media did. That's what Chiefs Kingdom did, so we're going to dive into that. And the most interesting thing that to be taken away from this is basically, how do we even phrase it? I don't even want to use the terms they said, and a lot of people also too are but more upset with Tyreek Hill in this situation. And honestly, he would be the one, like, lower tier that I'd be more upset with anything. Like, of course I was upset initially because I'm like, how are you saying these things when Casey helped benefit you to a really great career? But one, I'm more upset with the interviewer asking a dumb question like that, and then also his agent and Drew Rosenhaus actually putting himself in that type of limelight to be in that type of scenario. His agent, I know this is Tyreek Hill's podcast, so Tyreek Hill is going to do what he needs to do and say what he needs to be said. He obviously wants, like I said, he wants things to be said. He wants to be viewed by his fan base and by anyone who wants to watch. But of course, what was said that got everyone's attention was basically that Casey tried to limit his production, and that would lower a trade value, and he wouldn't be worth as much, and even in contract wise too, he wouldn't get a high demanding contract. Do you hear what I just phrased? I even had to put it in my head on how to say it, because it just sounds ridiculous. Like, how would a team, and one, it's all completely false if you look at the numbers, and I know Chiefs fans too, they know Tyreek Hill's career in depth. One, he's the best KC receiver in history. He's, if not the number one receiver in the NFL, he's top two with Devontae Adams. So how do you limit his production, his snaps, saying he wasn't getting the type of looks he should have been getting? Really, come on. I want to say, let alone last year, he had over 140 targets, 111 receptions, over 1,000 yards. He always gets over 1,000 yards. He's involved in every type of play, whether it's deep, whether it's a screen, whether it's a short dig route, whether it's a reverse. They even involved him in punt and kickoff returns early in his career. Yeah, it wasn't as much, but also too, when you're trying to be the number one receiver, you don't get punt and kickoff returns anymore. So it's absurd, to hear Drew Rosenhaus and then the interviewer kind of say that's what was going on. Tyreek, he shook his head and nodded and said, yeah. The only thing Tyreek was really vocal on was when Drew Rosenhaus said Tyreek wanted to stay in KC. He said, yeah, I wanted to stay in KC, which I do give that too. I believe that 110%. I believe Tyreek wanted to be in KC, but at the end of the day, he wanted more money than anything. And that's something Tyreek Hill can't deny. The KC's not trading you if you accept their offer, which initially they were good. You were gonna. Let's play it out from the beginning. And this is where I think this whole thing is really unnecessary and didn't need to be said and things like that. Again, it's a snippet. You got to take it for face value, because I guarantee once this comes out June 10th, it's going to be all softcore stuff. There was probably things edited in there that make me clickbait to make everyone be like, oh, he really said that and all that, when it really didn't happen. But we are here, like I said. But let's go back to the beginning of free agency and even beforehand, because Chiefs Kingdom knows as good as well as I do is the early reports and initial reports was Tyreek Hill was not going to sign. He was there. They had a deal done, set in place. He was going to be in Kansas City Chiefs for the future. That was all set in stone. Now, he was on vacation. I forgot where he was at, but he was out of the country, so we all thought that was delaying the process and things like that. But I even mentioned on this channel too, I knew this was going to happen. I knew the longer it prolonged, I felt like his agent was like, we're not signing a contract until free agency starts. It's a smart thing to do for an agent. One, you see where the market's really at, and you know even in today's day and age, it's a better chance the wide receiver market skyrockets than falls. And that's exactly what it did. It skyrocketed. So Drew Rosenhaus, I guarantee he was like, we're not signing that offer no more. Look at what the Christian Kirks in the world is getting paid. Look at all these other receivers and think they're breaking the bank. You're going to have to up your offer. You played your cards. Brett Veach had to play his next, and I don't think it happened overnight. Like Veach even mentioned, it happened with a week span, and thinking, well, if we tie Tyreek Hill down to a $28 to $30 million contract a year, that puts us in a really tight hole for the future to where we can't like invest in our defense, invest in these younger offensive players too. So we might as well get trade assets for it while we can and draft capital. And that's what Brett Veach decided to do, which looking back on it now looks brilliant. And even at the moment it did too. When you get, 5 to 6 picks for a receiver you drafted in the 5th round, and you're a really good draft team, no matter what, Brett Veach gets better in the draft year in and year out, it's a win. And then you look back at the draft class they have, it's looking really solid too. So put that all at face value. And then again, another thing a lot of people, especially in social media, I know there's Chiefs fans out there that want to believe it too, is KC didn't have the money to pay Tyreek Hill. Like, knock that out the way, because literally everything that has been reported was Kansas City offered him around $24 to $25 million a year. Guys, that's a lot of money still. Like, a ridiculous amount of money. They did not want to go to the 28 to 30 million, which arguably is understandable. You can pick what side you want and that, but at the end of the day, they did not want to do that. So don't make it seem like KC couldn't pay him, because they could have and they would have, just not as high as everyone wanted them to. So that's why they ended up trading him to Miami, and they said, let's build this team now. And it all works out at the end of the day. Now, like I mentioned, with the interviewer asking that question, like, why? Like, even if you're, like, you got to go down a script of questions you have. And for that to be the one, it's just really ridiculous to say that, like, KC, like, tried not to make you as good as what you potentially are, when I think, if anything, Kansas City's made you better than what any other team in the league could ever do. We'll find out with Miami next year. We know with their new coach from San Francisco, he had Debo, so he'll probably try to use Tyreek like that. But that's also, like, that's going to put Tyreek in situations where he can get hurt too. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm not that type of fan who's going to be like, screw Tyreek and all that. And it was hard to see, but at the end of the day, I do still think he'll be productive in Miami. I don't think he'll be as productive as what he was in KC, because Andy Reid knew how to scheme him correctly. So I do think he will misread. But at the end of the day, for him to say he wanted to stay in KC and he acted like he was heartbroken, you chose the money at the end of the day, bro. Like, you had $25 million there. It was right before free agency. You listened to your agent got paid, you got paid. Live with it. It's all good. We good over here. Like, you good over there with your decision. You get to be at home in Florida and enjoy it. And in Miami's got a very interesting team too. So you guys can be good. Miami's one of my sleeper teams. But do I think they'll be as good as KC? No, because I think KC's going to shock a lot of people next year and be really, really good. And that's another thing, too. I initially posted it on Twitter when they said that they tried not to get Tyreek involved. I'm like, that's crazy, because if they didn't try to get him involved and Tyreek wasn't involved in this offense as much as what he should have been, then why is everyone making it seem like Tyreek Hill loss would hurt us so much? Like, make it make sense. People say we're going to fall off drastically without Tyreek Hill, but then you got an interviewer saying that, oh, they're not going to be as good, that they didn't use Tyreek at all. How does that make sense? It just doesn't. Like, none of it makes sense, but it gives us something to stay dialed into, definitely in the month of June when football is very slow. Also, too, like I mentioned, KC, they'll find, like, I know there's Chiefs fans concerned on what KC's going to do at the wide receiver position. They're very young core and things like that. I think this is the most loaded the room ever looked like. Remember, Tyreek was drafted in the 5th round. They drafted Demarcus Robinson in the 4th round. I know a lot of y'all don't like him either. They got this undrafted guy in Justin Ross, who we are all loving. You got Sky Moore in the building, too. You still got Cole, Juju. Nothing to be too concerned about, but I'm closing this video off now, you guys, so just let me know how you guys are taking the Tyreek Hill comments. I know a lot of us are going to be like, what the hell is he doing? Like, keep down talking Kansas City. We heard it initially, even earlier when he said Tua throws him the prettiest ball, and then everyone was like, damn, are we slighting Mahomes now? I don't even want to look at it that way. I think he's just trying to hype up his teammates, hype up the decision he made, and be happy with it at the end of the day. But dive into the comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling about Tyreek Hill. But before that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because I will keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And please do like this video. I am checking out. Y'all take care.